Live from the BDN Studios, it's Bang and Dang.
That's awesome.
If you don't like that, then
You ain't black.
All right, we're back. Part 2 of this Quebec Biker War. And, well, so far on the part 1, what did we do? We got some bombing that killed a little kid, a little 11-year-old. We got the fight for Montreal/Quebec. We got our informant guy named Kane who spilling his guts. His guts are about to be spilled in this episode. Spoiler alert. We got basically a lot of Operation Carcajou, where all three little law enforcement agencies in Quebec and Canada are absolutely failing at bringing down these bikers. So pretty much that's what happened here. And we're going to go into more of some crimes and more about that Operation Carcajou. And like I said, their prize informant, Kane, I forget the guy's first name. He's still doing shit, and he's going to meet his bitter end by starting off with Stéphane Gagné, who's a petty criminal from Hochelaga Maisonneuve district of Montreal, who joined the Angels. He wanted desperately to join the Nomads, which was the elite group of the Angels in Quebec, and to do so, he agreed to murder prison guards for Maurice Boucher. Everybody knows, if you heard him last time, they call him Mom. He's a leader of that Nomads chapter, as well as all of Quebec, I believe. June 26, 1997, Gagné and another Hells Angels biker, Andre Toots Tausignet, they murdered a prison guard, Diane Levine, who gunned her down in the streets in Montreal while riding a motorcycle. She was riding a motorcycle, or they were? She was, probably. Gagné and Toots were promoted up on July 1st, 1997 to become prospects with the Angels, giving them the right to wear partial Hells Angels patches as a reward, right? Police listened to Toots call his wife, Eve, to tell her, I got my patch yesterday.
Uh-oh.
Leading her to say, I'm so proud of you.
Oh, wow.
Toots then called his mistress to break the news, leading her to say, congratulations.
Well, look at that.
At least he got his wife first, right?
She said proud, and she said congratulations.
All right. 8th of September, 1997, Gagné and a fellow biker, Paul Fontaine, they call him Fonfon, gunned down another prison guard, Pierre Rondeau.
Oh, poor Pierre. During an attack on a prison van carrying prisoners from Rivières des Prairies prison to a court on the morning of the 8th of September, 1997, Gagné and Fontaine, they began to shoot up the old front seats of the van with their handguns, killed Pierre Rondeau, and badly wounded another guard, which is Robert Corriveau, who was critically injured, but he survived. Gagné's gun jammed, which saved Corriveau's life, as Fontaine decided that since Corriveau was already badly bleeding, he would die before an ambulance arrived. He's like, look at him. He's not going to make it much longer.
In response to those murders of the two guards,
I think that was the mafia. They actually would have killed
probably stopped and put a gun or a bullet right in his head.
Right.
In response to those murders of the prison guards, Commander Andre Bouchard, he launched Project Harm in the fall of 97. They raided bars, restaurants, strip clubs that were controlled by the Angels and the Rock Machine, hoping to find something that would lead them to the killers of Levine and Rondeau. 4th of December 97, Bouchard received a call for help from a police officer raiding a strippers agency run by the Angels.
Oh, here we go. Upon arriving, wearing his full dress uniform as usual, Bouchard, confronted by a burly Angels member who wanted to fight him. He said, let's go, you son of a bitch. Leaning him to punch out the Angel. Wow, look at that. And then he asked this. Anybody else want some?
Okay, who says this? Him?
Right, yeah, I don't think that happened. Sorry. Sorry. Does anybody else want one? In the strippers agency, the police found 67 guns. Wow, they found photos of Angels having sex with the strippers and each other. Full patch Angels often sodomize, hang around, and prospect Angels to assert domination. Sorry, I'm just going to stick this in here. Sorry. Sorry. Sorry.
There it is.
Does the U.S. Angels know about this?
I mean, they probably do it too.
Wow. They also found $2.5 million worth of cocaine.
All right. That's probably why they're banging fucking prospects in the ass.
Right. They didn't care. They're all high. And next morning they woke up like, what did we do last night? You don't want to know. One of those arrested was a Peruvian drug dealer known as Steve Boyce.
Oh, jeez.
Who has assisted Gagné with cleaning up after Moitas and named him as the killer in exchange for a lesser sentence. And it promised not to deport him back to Peru. Oh. Really?
Indeed, huh? December 5th, 97, Gagne was arrested. And after lengthy interrogation by Detective Sergeant Robert Pigeon, he confessed.
Oh.
Pigeon described Gagne as a weak character, a man easily dominated by others, well, apparently, and observed all that was needed was to apply some pressure on him to make him break down in tears and confess.
Well, clearly not, because you said it was a lengthy interrogation, so I guess they tried being nice at first. Right.
Gagne then agreed to turn over evidence to the Crown after he was arrested in December, and in his confession, he named Toots and Fontaine as his fellow killers.
Oh. Fontaine fled to Mexico after Gagne implicated him in where he lived for a number of years. He later returned to Canada in May of 2004.
Why would you do that?
Right, and go back to Quebec. At least go to, like, Manitoba or something.
Right.
He was arrested in Quebec City, where he was living under an assumed name, Jean Goyer. In October 2008, he went on trial in Montreal, convicted in February 2009, one count of first-degree murder for killing Rondeau. Toots, a prospect for the Nomads who disappeared after Gagne's confession, he was found murdered, shot twice, and his body then set on fire.
What happens, Toots?
Yeah, they don't like rats up there, huh?
He was last seen alive on December 7th, going to see Boucher. Fontaine's boyfriend was Serge Boutin, the chief drug dealer in Montreal's gay village.
Oh, wow.
Unlike Toots, Fontaine was kept alive as Boucher wanted to keep the services of Boutin. The corpse of Toots was found buried in a shallow grave in the Eastern Townships, February 27, 1998, and his murder never solved.
Huh.
December 18th, though, 97, Boucher was arrested and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. For that?
Wow.
Interesting.
Throughout the Guerre des Motards,
Biker War.
right, the Biker War, the more powerful and better organized Angels consistently held the upper hand over the Rock Machine, which had previously controlled all of the non-mafia organized crime in Quebec. 1998, Jacques Lemieux of the Royal Canadian Mounted Popo told The Economist that the Angels were seeking control of the narcotics trade, automobile theft, prostitution, smuggling, illegal gambling, and, of course, what goes with all of that, extortion rackets in all of Quebec. In the same interview, Detective Lemieux, he said, bikers seem a lot more active in Canada than elsewhere, and a lot more violent in Quebec.
Yeah.
Quote, unquote.
A lot of area.
Yeah. Quebec's huge.
The Hells Angels had of the Société d'Assurance Automobile du Québec.
So
I'm guessing like the DMV or something.
Right.
They issue driver's licenses, right. And namely, they had Jeanette Martineau and Raymond Turgeon working for them. Of the DMV people, they are working there. Turgeon. Between November 23rd, 99 and October 31st, 2000, Turgeon and Martineau sold the home addresses of 25 Rock Machine members to the Rockers for a mere $200 each,
Wow.
of which 4 were killed.
Oh.
February 20th, 98, Denny Below of the Rock Machine was shot dead while he was eating a Quebec City restaurant. They love to kill people in restaurants, don't they?
That's right. What a waste of food. Let me eat that first. 30th of July, 1998. Bab Bam, Richard Legacy of the Rock Machine, murdered while he was leaving a Montreal gym. 23rd of August, 1998. A team of Rock Machine killers that's said to consist of Frederick Fauché, Gerald Gallant, and Marcel Demers. They rode by on their motorcycles and gunned down Paolo Controni in his driveway. Controni was a member of the Calabrian Controni crime family, who were the rivals of the Sicilian Mafia Rizzuto crime family. Ooh. Controni, he was killed partly to gain the favor of the Rizzutos and partly because he was a friend of Boucher.
Okay. 8th of September, 98, Johnny Plesio, a founding member of the Rock Machine and president of its Pointe-aux-Trembles chapter in Montreal. He was at his Laval home watching television when his cable was severed. As he rose to see what was wrong with his television, 27 bullets went through Plesio's living room window, 16 of which struck him.
Damn.
At his funeral, a flower arrangement appeared bearing the word Banditos, which was the first sign that the Banditos Motorcycle Club of Texas was taking an interest of the Rock Machine.
Oh, wow. Where have these guys been?
Oh, they gave him little flowers. My condolences.
Right.
Now be with us.
Right. Norman Whistle would succeed Plesio as president of the Pointe-aux-Trembles chapter. Disaster struck the Dark Circle when one of their members, Salvatore Brunetti, a restaurant and bar owner and also a drug dealer, he defected to the Angels and gave them a list of remaining members of the Dark Circle. They've been trying to find these guys for a minute.
The Dark Circle is,
Right.
I guess if you didn't watch part 1, they're
Just
a group of businessmen that
Right.
are funding the drug dealers and shit.
Jean Rosa, a 32-year-old businessman, he lived in the middle-class suburb of Montreal, found shot to death in front of his Pontiac Grand Prix.
Oh.
Damn. This was in his driveway on the morning of the 25th of September, year 1998. He died of blood loss. Oh, at the hospital later that day.
Rosa was a member of the Dark Circle, and his neighbors were shocked to learn that respectable Rosa was, in fact, a gangster whose home had been purchased with profits from the drug trade, which was laundered through the bar Rosa owned.
Right.
8 p.m., 22nd of October, 1998, Pierre Bastien, who owned another successful bar, had just parked his car in the driveway at his home, and as he went to open the door of his automobile for his 8-year-old daughter, he was shot in the head at point-blank range in front of his kids. See, dude, Mafia wouldn't do that.
Son of a bitch. Could you imagine?
Like, we're, glorifying the Mafia. The Mafia are such good guys. I mean, they wouldn't just... I guess they would, but not like that.
Son of a bitch. That sucks. At least you never know it was coming. Damn. Bastien was also a member of the Dark Circle.
Yes.
And his bar was also a front for laundering drug money.
I bet it would be.
To save their lives, several other members of the Dark Circle turned themselves into the Popo and confessed to their crimes, saying that they would be safer in prison than they would be as a free man. I don't know. Do they know anything about prison? Well, maybe in Canada. I don't know.
I don't know. They already had 2 people killed in prison.
Right. At least one member of the Dark Circle who went to prison was later offered full parole for good behavior, which he declined, saying the Angels would kill him for certain if he got out. And it was his wish to spend the rest of his life in prison. Oh, wow.
Dude, go somewhere else.
Go to the protection. They can't offer him that.
Right. Well, probably not. Unless he's going to give up something. Another member of the Circle, a restaurant owner and bar owner named Claude Jaunet, he followed Brunetti in defecting over to the Angels, agreeing to launder drug money for them in exchange for his life.
Right.
10th of November, 98, Stéphane Morgan of the Rock Machine and his bodyguard Daniel Boulet, they were shot dead outside of Morgan's house. On November 27, 98, Boucher was acquitted of ordering the murder of the 2 prison guards in 97, and afterwards became a folk hero in Quebec, with people in the poor neighborhood of Hochelaga Maisonneuve in Montreal cheering Boucher and his fellow Angels as they rode their Harleys down the streets like it was a royal procession.
Aww.
Yeah.
Look at these guys. Wow. Night of 27th November 1998. Celebrate his acquittal. Boucher attended a boxing match in Verdun with his fellow nomads, with the audience cheering him on as he took his seat and hundreds of people lined up to get his autograph. Boucher became a celebrity in Quebec overnight, despite, or perhaps because of the violence of the Biker War.
Probably perhaps.
With many polls showing that he was one of the most popular and best-loved man in La Belle Province, with much of the Quebec media offering fawning coverage of the charismatic Boucher. The Crown was stunned by Boucher's popularity with ordinary Quebecians, with many police officers and prosecutors saying this reflected the moral decay of the Quebec society.
Yeah. May of 99, the Rock Machine became a hang-around club for the Banditos. After 18 months, they became a probationary chapter in December of 2000. Unlike the Angels, those bikers joining the Banditos had to enter as a prospect, regardless of what their membership had been in the Rock Machine.
Oh, wow.
Even the presidents.
Wow. Well, I mean, yeah, I would do that, right?
That was considered very off-putting, causing several members to join the Angels instead.
Oh, wait.
Like, you go as a sergeant at arms or something, you're immediately going to be a member, I would assume, of the Angels. Why would you make them a fucking prospect? That's dumb.
Yeah.
Shortly afterwards, Fauché was arrested on charges of importing cocaine into Canada, and the Rock Machine new president became Alain Brunette. You're the Red Tomato guy. That's the Red Tomato Brunette. Remember him?
April 1999. 5 powerful bombs were found next to 5 different Popo stations, including the one where Bouchard he worked at, and only failed to explode because the bomb maker had attached faulty detonators.
Idiot.
The bombs had been planted by an Angels puppet gang, the Scorpions, and one of those involved later testified that the orders came from Boucher himself. In the summer of 1999, a bizarre incident occurred on the streets of Montreal when Woolley was riding his Harley-Davidson while wearing his rocker patch on his vest. He was pulled over for speeding.
He's a hitman guy.
Yeah. He's not a member. He can't be a member. He was a member of the gang that switched over.
No, he was a Haitian-born guy that had his own gang. Well, the constable who pulled over Woolley, Michel Bureau, He claimed he was frightened when he noticed that Wooly had something under his vest, saying he knew Wooly was an especially violent man as he was the only black outlaw biker in Montreal, and offered to drop the fine if Wooly would just show him what was under his vest.
Oh, really? Okay.
When Wooly refused, Constable Bureau said it didn't matter if Wooly was carrying drugs. He was willing to drop the charges just as long as he showed him what was under his vest.
Right, just show him.
Why?
Wow. When Willie informed Burrow that he was not under arrest, well, I guess he's telling the cop he's not under arrest.
Why is the cop being like, oh, just show me and you'll be all right? If he's going to be all right, just go.
Right. When Willie informed Burrow that if you're not going to arrest me, and this is none of your business then, what I have underneath my vest, Burrow was like, okay, I'm going to call for backup. And this took 5 officers to arrest Willie for speeding. Wow. No guns or drugs were found on Willie, though a handgun was found lying on the streets close to the arrest scene, which Willie's lawyers claimed was planted by the popo.
Maybe.
Could have been.
Well, later, the judge threw out all of the charges, ruling that this was not a routine pullover, suggested it was an unusually clumsy attempt on the part of the police to entrap Wooly.
They did, too.
During his time in jail while awaiting the charges, Wooly was involved in 3 different fights with other inmates and an attempt to smuggle PCP into the jail. Damn, how was it? He was in there for 3 days.
Right, he did all that shit.
Jeez. Before finally being separated from other inmates on the grounds he was too violent.
Wow.
Wow, okay.
We're about to take a look at one of the most notorious incidents of this very Biker War that we've been talking about. Happened on 26th of August, year 1999, in a time when the whole world was going crazy.
I think the world's gone crazy.
They thought they had mere months left to live, or computers were going to survive. We don't know.
Yeah.
Y2J save us. 2 rockers entered a car rental agency in St. Leonard, neighborhood of Montreal. Asked to see Serge. The Serge they wanted to see was Serge Bruno,
yeah,
the owner of the agency and member of Dark Circle. But as we went through this last episode, one of his employees was named Serge Hervoy. They told them that Joe Saint Serge, he says, I am Serge, at which they opened fire. Their 357 Magnum handguns, putting 4 bullets in the unfortunate wrong Serge, killing him instantly. While Bruno hid under his desk.
The other Serge.
Oh, they never said that last time.
The intended Serge.
Wow.
Well, the wrong Serge, who was a married man with 2 children, had no involvement with organized crime. Besides killing the wrong man, the killers, Jean Richard Lariviere, they call him Race, and Eric Fournier, they call him Piff. They also failed to set fire to their getaway car, which was a stolen Chrysler Intrepid.
Oh, no shit.
Leaving behind in the trunk massive evidence incriminated them, not the least of which was that their fingerprints were all over the papers listing the address of the car rental agency.
These guys are so dumb.
Stupid.
Wow. Well, despite killing the wrong Serge, both men were promoted to full patch rockers, making them well on their way to finally becoming angels. Despite a promise to the Popo that the violence would stop, on the 1st of October 1999, the president of the Rock Machines, Point Out Tremble's chapter, Tony Plescio, brother of Johnny Plescio, gunned down in a parking lot of Montreal's McDonald's.
Jeez, what is up with these restaurant hits?
All right. He was taking his family to dinner at McDonald's, you piece of shit. You have all this money, you're going to McDonald's. I guess, whatever. I don't give a fuck what you eat.
It's the 90s.
Right.
McDonald's was decent then.
Right. Other members of the Rock Machine killed in 1999, including Richard Relative and Serge Boisvert. They're just killing these Serge guys.
Serge, the level of violence against Serge is surging. Boisvert, while high on drugs, walked down the street in a small town while waving about an AK-47 and was shot down by the popos when he refused the order to put his down his gun.
Well, that's what you get. Holy shit.
Jeez. Boisvert's brother, Hector, he stated he knew he was going to die soon. Eventually, that is certain. May 1st, 2000, a drug dealer working for the Rock Machine, Patrick Turcotte, he was lethally shot in the back leaving a store renting pornographic videos by a man riding in a blue van using a Beretta handgun equipped with a silencer.
Damn, isn't that a song? Or like a title of an album?
A man riding in a blue van using a Beretta handgun equipped with a silencer? That's a fucking hell of an album. There's a man in a blue van holding a Beretta handgun equipped with a silencer. Turcotte's killers, 2 rockers named Peanut and Schrumpf, they were rewarded by being promoted to prospects for the Angels.
Fantastic. Cool, guys. Well, going back to Kane, he was not a nomad, but in early 2000, he began to work as a chauffeur for a nomad, which they called him Norman Robitaille.
Yes, that's because that was his name.
Right. Driving him all over Montreal as Robitaille met with other Angels and occasionally the Mafia himself. Kane reported this to his Royal Crown Mounted Police handlers that Robitaille had told him during one of their car rides that he, Boucher, and Robert Savard, one of the most notorious loan sharks in Montreal, guess what they were going to do? The cops were like, what? They're going to start an internet company that would allow all of the pawn shops of Quebec to sell their wares online in exchange for a monthly fee. However, the twist of the plan was that any pawn shop owner who refused to list his products with the planned company would have his business, guess what? Burned down, baby.
I mean, that makes sense. That's mafia. Robitaille added that angels had already been sent around to warn pawn shop owners that they would either list with the planned company or see their business destroyed by arsonists. Though the Rizzuto family leaned towards the Angels, one of the Rizzuto capos, Paolo Gervasi, he was a supporter of the Rock Machine, who he sold drugs and reserved a table for them at a strip club.
Right, but when it all comes down to it,
I think he's going to do what the gang or the mafia family wants him to do. April 2000, Gervasi's son, Salvatore, who was also in the mafia, was murdered and his corpse placed inside his Porsche, which was left outside his father's house. Oh, that's a message. You're going to fucking get right with the Angels, baby.
Porsche.
Wow. Fuck you. Saying that shit. Well, Paolo himself survived an assassination attempt later that year, but January 22nd, 2004, he was killed while entering an Italian bakery.
Oh, man. Quit going to restaurants.
Stop going to food places, man.
Jeez. 17th April, year 2000. Norman Hamill, one of the nomads, murdered when attempting...
If you guys wonder why we keep going back and forth, because these are just...
Right.
This
crimes.
is not like a linear thing. These are just crimes that are happening. It's like going through different crimes. Just like all the Angels, all the other Angels episodes. Just a rundown of shit.
Right. In this case, we just did a 2004 murder. Now we're about to do a year 2000 murder. Everybody's relieved that they're still alive. Computers work. April 17th, year 2000. Norman Hamill, one of the nomads, murdered while attempting to flee a Rock Machine assassins in the Laval parking lot while he and his wife were taking his son to the doctor. Oh, come on, guys. Hamill was the most senior Hells Angel to be killed in the Biker War. Boucher himself showed up at the crime scene to investigate Hamill's killing. And later that very same night, nomad Norman Bellinger, while using his cell phone that the police had tapped, he was heard saying that Hamill's murder was part of the game we play, but also pretty disgusting, saying his wife and son should have not seen his murder. Well, like the other guy shot right in his
shot
head.
somebody in the head and blew up a little boy.
Jeez, 27th of April, year 2000, Boucher's friend, Andre Desjardins, they call him Didi, was one of the most infamous construction union officials in Quebec and well known for extortion and loan sharking. Guess what happened to him? Killed, parking lot of Montreal restaurant. And that restaurant name was Sean's.
Jeez, dude, don't go to restaurants.
Eat at home, you motherfuckers.
Order in. Well, then they'll probably send the assassin over there and deliver in the food. Well, he was called the King of Construction. He had been the vice president of the Fédération des Travailleurs et Travailleuses du Québec Union in the 70s.
Okay. Federation of Traveling, right?
It's the Quebec Federation of Labor.
Oh, what? Where do you get travelers from?
It's got to make it 107 words longer. Yeah, he was president of the Quebec Federation of Travel. What?
What?
What was it?
Workers.
Federation of Labor.
He's a labor union.
He was a labor guy in the 1970s, where he attracted much attention in 74 when his union committed vandalism that had cost subcontractors on the James Bay project some $30 million as part of an extortion attempt, which led to the Cliché Commission that found the construction industry in Quebec was systematically corrupt, with the construction unions all controlled by the mafia.
You know it. They got to control a little part of something of everything, right? Wow.
Mafia love construction.
The journalists Julian Scher and William Marsden. They wrote that Desjardins' murder was not an isolated killing over a simple debt, but he was killed because this is the beginning of a new era of consolidation of the Hells' now massive drug empire, which extended throughout Quebec and the Maritimes, and was fast spreading into Ontario and Western Canada as well. Desjardins' business partner, Robert Savard, murdered 7th of July, year 2000. He just had breakfast with Boucher on the previous day, and by October 2000, there had been 11 murders of independent gangsters, not with the Rizzuto family, who had previously been allies of the Angels. Uh-oh.
June 2000, Sandra Craig, a Bolivian immigrant who was the daughter of one of Bolivia's most powerful drug lords, was almost killed by the Hells Angels on the streets of Montreal. August 29, 2000, her Canadian husband, Raymond Craig, was indeed killed by the Angels in the resort town of St. Adelaide.
Oh, my goodness.
The Craigs had previously been the main link between the Colombian gangsters and the Rizzuto family and the Hells Angels in Montreal. Not anymore.
Fucking Craigs.
In December 2000, Michel Auger, the crime correspondent of La Journal de Montreal, he wrote a series of articles in that journal stating that Boucher had turned on his former allies such as Desjardins, Savard, and the Craigs and was systematically killing them off, saying, we're going to take the piece of pie for ourselves.
Wow. Okay.
Jeez, look at that. Is Boucher like the most evil lead boss guy ever?
Looking like it, right? 12th of May, year 2000. The Angels attempted to kill the two Rock Machine members, Tony Duguay and Denis Boucher, suspected of killing Hamill, leading to a wild car crash, during which Duguay took bullet wounds to his arms, right hand, and also thigh. Tony Duguay, the Rock Machine member who was convicted of killing
Huey
Hamill,
Dubois.
right, of killing Hamill in 2006. He was acquitted in 2016, so this guy did 10 years, dude. That's bullshit.
What are you going to do, man? This price better that he was in prison not doing dumb shit anyway.
Right. He was acquitted after 10 years in prison when it was established that the eyewitness who gave the testimony that had convicted him had been fed information incriminating him by Detective Benoit Roberge, the senior anti-biker detective with the Montreal Popo, who was secretly working for the Angels. Oh, he's not so much anti-biker, is he? And that the witness had not actually seen Duguay kill Hamill at all, as he testified during this trial.
Of course not. The witness stated in 2016 that everything he said at Duguay's trial was perjury. He claimed that Detective Roberge had forced him to perjure himself. 25th of June 2000, Wa, the president of the Angels' Trois Rivières chapter, he disappeared after attending a party to celebrate the 5th anniversary of the founding of the Nomads. He had frequently ignored Boucher's orders by selling cocaine for less than $50,000 per kilogram. Jeez. July 2001, Elias Lecas testified that Wa was taken to a meat processing plant owned by Gerald Maddox, and while still alive, was run through a meat processing machine, dude.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, head first? Well, no, probably not. Feet first, for sure. Right?
That's what I would do.
Shit, right.
Son of a bitch. Wow. Regardless of his precise fate, Wa was never seen again. July 2000, Boucher's plan to set up an internet company were derailed when Robert Savard, the loan shark who charged 52% interest on loans he made to the desperate and needy, he was gunned down. He got gunned down at the Déjeuners Extra, which was also a restaurant in the north end of Montreal.
This should not be called the Quebec Biker War. This should be called the Restaurant Killings.
Right.
The Restaurant Gun Down.
Wow.
Something more clever than that. But
Savard had been an Angels associate for several years, and he was considered a right-hand man for old Boucher.
I know more. Well, his dinner companion, Norm Descateau, a hockey player, of course, turned loan shark, was also a target, but he survived by grabbing a waitress, Helene Brunette,
By the pussy?
and using her as an involuntary human shield, ensuring that she took 4 bullets meant for him.
Oh, wow. What a bitch.
Despite the way she took bullets in her arms, legs, and chin, Descateau was not charged. What? Really?
No shit.
Yeah, what would that charge be?
Wow.
Well, the shooters were... Did she die? I would assume, right?
I don't think so.
Well, the shooters were infamous Canadian hitmen Gerald Gallant and an unidentified associate. Gallant was employed by a member of the Dark Circle and also frequently carried out contracts for the Rock Machine during the conflict with the Angels.
Okay. Between the years of 1980 and 2003, he was responsible for 28 murders, 13 attempted murders. His most active years were during the Quebec Biker War,
I would assume.
when he killed 2 members of the Angels puppet clubs in 97 and wounded a third. In the year of 1998, he eliminated 5 men, including Paul Catroni Jr., son of mob boss Frank Catroni, making 1998 his most busy year as a hitman. A striking sign of the way in which the Angels had become part of the mainstream of Quebec society occurred at the wedding of the nomad René Charlebois on the 5th of August 2000.
Charlebois?
Charlebois? Yeah, right. Charlebois. Nomad René Charlebois on the 5th of August 2000, which was attended by Jean-Pierre Ferland and Jeanette Reno, 2 of the best loved folk singers in all of French Canada.
Oh, okay.
who both received $1 million for singing at Charlebois' wedding.
Charlebois' wedding, right?
Right, and they also received $10 million to go to Harris's rally.
Probably. Well, both Furlan and Reno posed for photographs with the Boucher for the Montreal tabloid Allo Police at the wedding, saying they both honored to meet such an outstanding man like Boucher.
Oh.
In particular, Reno, who has a very respectable image in Quebec, produced shock by her willingness to pose for photographs with the convicted rapist Boucher, who in '84, we know, held a gun to a 16-year-old girl's head, threatened to kill her if she didn't have sex with him. Right. And she's over here posing with a photo with him.
Wow, what a piece of shit.
$1 million will make you do anything.
Right. Both Furlan and Reno later claimed that they were unaware that the Angels are one of the most feared criminal syndicates.
Oh, sure. Even though we were just saying how Boucher's like some folk figure and fucking popular shit.
Right. Both of them went on to say that they would have never attended the wedding if they had known that. Are you kidding? And they even denied being paid $1 million and had anything to do with their willingness to perform at Charlebois' wedding.
So you would have done it for free?
Right.
Doubtful.
Wow. A few days after the wedding, Kane found dead in the garage of his home. Apparently a suicide. Found on his body was a rambling and confusing suicide note full of spelling mistakes and grammatical errors.
Grammatical.
Right.
Yeah. Just like this podcast, baby. Right. Yeah.
Containing his reflections on morality, the ethics of betraying his biker friends for the crown, and he went on to finally say that he was deeply confused about his sexuality. He said that he was not even certain if he was gay or even bisexual.
Well, you're still gay either way.
Right, which had apparently driven him to take his own life.
Oh, yeah, I bet, huh? September 13th, 2000, Michel Auger was the journalist. Was shot in the back 5 times while getting out of his car in the parking lot of La Journal de Montréal.
Oh, son of a bitch.
After his attempted assassination, he didn't die, which was seen as an attack on the freedom of the press by the bikers. 200 journalists marched down the streets of Montreal in a rally 2 days later in a show of protest.
Look at these guys. Good for you.
Start writing some bad shit about them.
All right. Son of a bitch. The increased media coverage of crime in Montreal caused by the attempted murder of Auger made the Rizzuto crime family regarded as the most powerful mafia family in Canada with close connections to the Bonanno crime family of New York. They're like, you know what? We need to seek a truce between the Warren biker gangs.
Yeah, it's about time. See,
They're fucking up their own shit now, and you start fucking with my money.
Number one, if this was America and the mafia, like 2 mafia families would have been doing this, would have been fucking put to rest already because you're drawing too much of fucking tension.
Right. And that's what Bonanno's probably telling Rizzuto. Right. Like, hey,
dude,
listen
you're fucking up our shit in New York now, bud.
Right. Wow. 26th September, year 2000, Vito Rizzuto held a meeting in an Italian restaurant named Blue Martin, attended by both Maurice Boucher, leader of the Angels in Quebec, and also Frederick Fauché, the leader of the Rock Machine, in an attempt to impose a truce. Like, come on, guys. Both of you are going to die if you don't.
All right. October 8, 2000, to celebrate Thanksgiving, Boucher and Fauché had dinner together at the Martin, and while a photographer from the Allo Police recorded the scene, the leaders of the Hells Angels and the Rock Machine exchanged handshakes, hugged, and broke bread together.
Oh.
To seal the truce, the biker leaders then went to the Super Succès, which is the most exclusive and expensive strip club in Montreal, with the photographers from the magazine covering their visit as well.
Ah, shit. Fantastic. Good for you guys. Look at you guys. One of the Angels present, Norman Robitaille, he was joked with the 2 cops sitting outside the strip club. He was like, well, with this truce, looks like you guys are about to lose your overtime pay, buddy.
Oh, man, I bet you they were like, wait a minute. We need these guys to be fighting.
Less holidays for you, motherfucker. Right. Holidays is vacation in other people's worlds, except for the United States.
Right.
2000, Montreal Crown Attorney, which was a prosecutor, complained to the media that the bikers kill with impunity, saying it is almost impossible to convict members of either the Angels or the Rock Machine because of widespread corruption in Quebec justice system. He's like, we got to get that under control first before we can attack these guys.
Yeah, the public's perception that the Quebec justice system was too incompetent and corrupt to stop the bikers finally spurred the Crown to act decisively against the bikers. In a rare victory for the Crown, October 10, 2000, a Montreal appeals judge undid double jeopardy, ruling that the Crown had presented a credible evidence that the 98 trial of Boucher was marred by intimidation of the jury and that the judge's instructions to the jury were defective. And as such, Boucher should be retried for the murders of Levine and Rondeau. Yeah, see? Fuck yeah, baby. That's what I'd be doing, too. Fuck these guys.
Double jeopardy, man. That's bullshit.
Fuck double jeopardy.
Bullshit.
Actually, that's really important. You should not have double jeopardy.
No. Boucher's lawyer, Robert Lemieux, who was a celebrity in Quebec for his role defending members of the FLQ.
And his brother's one of the most famous hockey players ever.
After the October crisis of 1970, he announced that his client had launched a $30 million lawsuit against the province of Quebec, alleging wrongful prosecution. He's like, come on, man. Unfortunately for Boucher, he had written much of the letter of a complaint himself, sparking widespread ridicule as his French was full of spelling mistakes that one would expect from a man who dropped out of school in grade 9.
All right. Okay. The truce imposed by the Rizzutos lasted only a few weeks and was ended when the Rock Machine agreed to join the Bandidos motorcycle club based in Texas. Bandidos are like, we ain't ending this shit.
Right.
In a sort of reverse takeover, Fauché arranged for the Rock Machine to patch over to join the Bandidos in a bid to internationalize the conflict by involving them, who were based in Texas. Yes, we know. The Rock Machine was sponsored to patch over by the Swedish and French branches of the Bandidos, while the American leadership disapproved, not wanting to be dragged into a war with the Hells Angels.
I can see that.
Yeah, because they're already doing shit in the United States against each other.
I mean, come on, man. The truce that just had happened had an ulterior motive, though, for the Angels, who sought to divide those who wanted to join the Bandidos and those who did not. Most of the Ontario machinists, which is biker slang for rock machine members, they preferred to join the Angels rather than Bandidos.
Why not?
The Angels' national president, Walter Standick, offered the Angels membership to the Rock Machine's Kingston, Niagara Falls, and Toronto chapters while excluding the London chapter, saying that the members of the London chapter were unqualified to be Angels.
Fuck them. Well, some members of the Kingston chapter and a few of the Toronto chapter took up Stadnick's offer, as it was felt by some that the Bandidos patch with his cartoonish drawing of a Mexican bandit was silly. Furthermore, Stadnick offered Hells Angels membership on a patch-for-patch basis, allowing members to trade their current patches for equivalent Hells Angels. Well, we know. Bandidos didn't.
Right.
Paul Porter, they call him Sasquatch. He was a founding member of the Rock Machine and said and the president of their Kingston chapter was extremely influential in the club and was responsible for initiating the creation of the Rock Machine's 3 chapters in Ontario.
Look at this guy.
What are we going to do here, Paul?
Well, guess what happened with him? Paul, he wrote on the wall of the clubhouse, "Hello to all the RMMC.
Rock Machine Motorcycle Club.
I wish you the best with your new colors. Bye, my brothers."
Oh.
Porter became the president of the Hells Angels' new Outlaw chapter.
Outlaw Ottawa. Yeah.
Porter became the president of the new Hells Angels Ottawa chapter.
Well, look at that shit, dude. You're fucking, you're brawling with each other, and now you're a president of the people you hated.
Well, the simple fact that the Angels had conspired to kill Porter at one time when he was a member of the Rock Machine did not stop him from defecting.
Hey, man, it's only business.
Right, it's business, baby. Porter brought over so many members of the Rock Machine Bandidos to the Hells Angels as to cause the Toronto chapter to close. That's what they wanted. That's all they wanted, guys. This is all we wanted. You guys to either patch over or close up.
Get the hell out of here.
Right.
Porter also persuaded Andre Curly Swabago, another prominent Rock Machine leader, to join the Hells Angels. The defection of so many Rock Machine leaders such as Porter and Curly further weakened the club. December 29, 2000, about 168 Ontario bikers rode over to Montreal for a mass patch over to join the Angels.
Look at that shit. Fucking Torontians.
The Satan's Choice, the Paradise Riders, the Paradise, P-A-R-A, Dice, D-I-S-C-E.
Yeah,
cool. The Los Lobos, and a number of other Ontario and others. They all abandoned their old patches for the Death's Head patch of the Angels, finally allowing the Angels to enter southern Ontario.
Look at that shit. It took a while.
Yeah, well.
Look at it. In a typical show of self-confidence, the photographers from Allo Police were invited to the Angels' bunker to record the patch over. 1st of December, 2001, Rock Machine Motorcycle Club became official members of the Bandidos Canada in a patch over ceremony at the Rock Machine's Kingston chapter. The Bandidos Canada inherited 7 new chapters: Montreal, Quebec City, Pointe-aux-Trembles, Beauport, Toronto, Kingston, and Niagara Falls. Good for you guys.
The Scandinavian Bandidos sponsored the Rock Machine and were technically responsible, but the Canadian Bandidos ultimately took orders from the American Mother Chapter, right?
Makes sense.
It was stated by Jerry Langton. He says the Rock Machine might have ceased to exist, but it wasn't because of the Hells Angels. Instead of surrendering, Fauché and his men wanted to get stronger. I mean, you're not doing that on your own. You got to go up against a national or worldwide power.
Right. Well, shortly afterwards, 6th of December, year 2000, Fauché, along with Marcel Demers, founding member of the Rock Machine, as we know already, and he's also president of the Beauport chapter. They are both arrested on multiple narcotics charges and
Not making a first good impression.
right, and for ordering a bombing that caused major damage to an Angels bunker, which was located in St. Nicholas. The police, they stated that they were accused of distributing more than 2 kilograms of cocaine a month and generated almost $5 million in profits annually. That's it.
Alain Brunette became the new national president after that. Jean-Claude Bellinger would replace Brunette as president of the Quebec City chapter. Robert Lager, he would head the Beauport chapter until his death. Police reported that Fauché's arrest was due to the fact that he was leader of a narcotics empire, and he had been responsible for the bombing of the bunker and 6 other buildings between 96 and 97. According to authorities, he was earning $250,000 per month from cocaine trafficking alone.
Oh.
He pled guilty to 28 charges, sentenced to 12 years, that's it, in prison on May 11, 2001. Dude, if I guess back in those days, you want to get caught with shit, you go to Canada, because
Right.
that shit was getting people 30, 40 years in America in 2000.
Kidding. 18th of January, 2001. Riel DuPont, they call him Tintin, of the Banditos, shot dead.
Oh.
He was in his car in Montreal.
Was he in a drive-thru?
Maybe. 14th of February, 2001, another Bandito, Michel Gauthier. Gauthier?
See, now they're taking it out on the Banditos.
Right, yeah, I mean, you got to. Michel Gauthier was found shot dead inside of his car as well. He was found in a forest. It was north of Montreal. Oh, shit. Oh, they took him out there and murdered him.
Right.
Alain Brunette, they call him Red Tomato. He was the president of the Banditos. He refused to offer to switch sides, as he told Detective Roberge. They killed my friends, my brother bikers, and now they want to change sides? I'm not a prostitute.
Right. Well, February 13th, 2001, Brunette was the victim of a murder attempt when his automobile was shot up while driving down a highway near Mirabel Airport. His car took 4 bullets while he himself took 2 to his chest.
Damn.
Despite bleeding badly, Brunette was able to reverse his car and sped away from his would-be killers. He later plaintively appealed to the Hells Angels to stop their attacks, saying in a press conference, "We just want to live in peace, man."
Right.
Later in 2001, a bandito named Eric McMillan, they call him the Red, he was beaten up by the Angels in an Oshawa bar. McMillan was slashed with a knife from his chest to his belly and almost bled to death.
Fuck.
Jeez.
Damn. Banditos are like, you fucking red machines.
Are the Scandinavians getting under pressure from the Americans now? Like, look what you brought us into. I guess they would already know.
Right.
I mean, it's the Hells Angels.
Yeah, I think they're kind of pissed. Shortly before his death, Kane had mentioned that a rocker named Jean-Richard Lavière, they call him Race, he was the main man for handling cash payments, which led the Operation Crocker Show detectives to focus on following him around. The Popo surveillance showed that Lavière rented an apartment at 7415 Bourbon Street in the east end of Montreal, which he did not even live in.
I wonder what that is.
But he received a steady stream of drug runners bringing bags to leave in the Unit 504. A man named Robert Gauthier would go to the Unit 504 every Tuesday and Thursday to receive the drug runners.
Oh. September 2000, the Quebec police sergeant was able to install a camera inside the apartment, which showed the drug runners were leaving money in the unit, which was then transferred by Gauthier over to Unit 403. It was in 504, so we got 2, which also had no tenant living in it, but did have 2 computers and a huge safe. A man named Stéphane Chanan, he would go to Unit 403 every Tuesday and Thursday to count the money left and then enter the amounts into the computers. Oh, you're doing it in the computers?
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Nothing was saved on the hard drive of the computers, but there were several disks on which were stored the financial records of the nomads hidden under the carpet. The man in charge of the computer program at the Nomad Bank was Richard Gem, an insurance underwriter who was studying at the Hautes Études Commerciales, the best business school in Quebec. Sorry, Quebecians, I can't speak your language. Surveillance showed the money collected at 7415 Bourbon Street every Tuesday and Thursday went to other apartments in Montreal to be counted.
Jeez. Well, the Operation Carcajou squad discovered that there were counting machines in the apartments, and the average box of cash that went out had $500,000 in it.
Nice.
A monthly average of 24 to 36 million went through what the police called the Nomad National Bank, with financial records showing the Nomad Bank had in January 2001 $36 million in deposits and another $13.3 million in receivables.
Damn.
Despite the surveillance, the police never learned how the Hells Angels laundered their money.
I'm sure they figured that probably went to the United States.
It's called Follow the Money. They were still doing business, but there's been several businessmen that switched to the Hells Angels.
True. One Angels, they took 3 boxes with $1.5 million in cash to the house of a prominent Montreal businessman, and the police placed the house under surveillance, hoping to see where the money went. When a search was performed, the money was gone, making it a mystery as to where the cash went or how they're even laundering it or what the hell. How do we even break this case?
Well, Commander Bouchard stated they had 5 money machines working 24 hours a day. They were taking out the cash, putting it on the table, flattening it out so it wouldn't get stuck, and throwing it into these gosh dang machines. It was almost like bubble gum to them. It was like a joke. They would laugh. I mean, why not? You're counting millions of dollars.
Right.
24th of January 2001, Sandra Craig turned herself into the Operation Carcajou Squad, and she gave the police the spreadsheet showing her and her late husband's dealings with the Angels, which matched the records in the Nomad Bank.
You're going to start, there are going to be a bunch of these people, little businesses.
Something tells me Craig's going to die.
Well, Craig stated that she and her husband had supplied 1,700 kilos of cocaine to the Angels between the year 1998 and 2000.
2 years is a lot.
Every Angel had a code name, with the Nomad Bank, with the instance Stadnik's code name being Gertrude, and Carol's code name being Renard. 30th January, year 2001, Operation Carcajou raided the locations of the Nomad Bank, which the police seized $5.6 million in cash. Well, in the meantime, Commander Bouchard had decided to investigate from another angle.
He used a list of killers supplied by Kane as a list of suspects. Bouchard had the police gather up DNA evidence left by those named by Kane, such as saliva found on discarded coffee cups or uneaten food in restaurants, which did not require a warrant. Right. At the same time, Bouchard had 2 detectives, who was Louis-Marc Pelletier and Michel Tremblay. They painstakingly went through all the old evidence from unsolved murders, such as hair, skin flakes found on guns, and discarded Kleenexes, plus spit, to see if there was any DNA samples that could be recovered.
Wow.
Look at these guys, dude.
Look at
everything.
Well, time, right? Well, they were unable to recover they were able to recover 4 samples of DNA from old evidence. And then, using DNA found from coffee cups and others, were able to link 4 Angels or Rockers, most notably Wooly, to the murders.
Oh, big bad Wooly.
They had to go after the black guy.
Well, he clowned him earlier. Fucking wouldn't let him arrest him and shit.
Yeah. By February 2001, Bouchard's team had assembled enough evidence that they were prepared to lay 23 charges of murder, attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and gangsterism against 42 Angels or Rockers.
Gangsterism.
I love it.
15th February 2001, the police stormed into the Angels meeting at the Holiday Inn in downtown Montreal. Found at the meeting were photographs of every single bandito in Quebec, plus their addresses and phone numbers. Oh, shit. They're about to do some shit.
Oh, wow.
The Nomads attending the meeting were all armed. Sergeant Thomas O'Neill of the Mounted Police stated, "We struck a gold mine when we went in there. This was amazing evidence for us."
Oh, wow.
The journalist Sharon Marsden called the meeting a board meeting of Murder Incorporated, lining up their next targets. That's exactly what was happening.
Yeah.
However, to hide the coming Operation Springtime, the Crown made plea bargains with those arrested for weapons charges to avoid disclosing the evidence that led to the raid. Okay.
Look at that. That's smart. Wow. 28th of March, 2001, Operation Springtime. A joint investigation of the Angels by Royal Canadian Mounted Police, the Ontario Provincial Police, and the Quebec Police, and also the Montreal Police. This resulted in the arrest of Hells Angels all over Canada, with 138 being arrested in Quebec, 51 being arrested in Calgary, and that happened on the 30th of March. At about 4 a.m. on the morning of the 28th of March, 2,000 police officers assembled and sent out to arrest 128 Angels and Associates in Montreal alone.
Damn. Arrested that very day were 106 full patch members of the Angels, all of the Nomad chapter present in Montreal, all of the Rockers, and all of the Evil Ones puppet gangs. Oh shit, the whole gang of the Rockers and the Evil Ones. When Hells Angels member Eric Bouffard, he was arrested 28th of March 2001. Photos were found in his home showing Jose Theodore, who was the goalie for the Montreal Canadiens. He was partying with the Angels at their Montreal South clubhouse. It was also discovered that Bouffard had Theodore's cell phone number. Jose! That's probably like Jose or something like that. Yeah. But, damn, look at this guy.
Wow. The revelation that a popular hockey player like Theodore was like close.
Think he's that popular.
Right.
Number one. Number two, that makes you think, how many Montreal hockey players were mobbing it up back in the day, too.
That's why they're so great.
That's very true, man.
Wow. Well, the revelation that a popular hockey player like Theodore was a close friend of the Angels once again brought home how much the Angels had gone mainstream in Quebec, associating with celebrities from around the world of arts and sports. Mm-hmm. At this very same time, it was revealed that several other members of the Theodore family had been arrested for loan sharking.
Oh, jeez.
Another arrested during the 2001 rage was Montreal restaurant owner Salvatore Brunetti. The police found evidence that Brunetti had been between December 2000 and March 2001. He laundered $70,000 in drug money for the Angels. While at Brunetti's home, the Popo found $3,000 in the United States and $10,000 Canadian dollars.
So about the same.
Right. Along with an illegal .38 caliber handgun.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you can't have that.
During their raids, the Quebec police arrested Charlebois at his estate outside of Montreal as well. Charlebois, who once been a petty criminal selling marijuana and smuggled cigarettes out of a cheap submarine sandwich restaurant, he was found to have $7,000 in cash and 5 $1,000 gambling chips from the Casino de Montreal at his estate, together with a 1989 bottle of Chateau Haut Briand, which is worth $1,325. He had a 1990 bottle of Chateau Lafite as well. Charlebois had risen rapidly after joining the Rockers, the Hells Angels, and the Nomads in succession during the 90s. He went from the Rockers to the Angels to the big elites, baby.
Look at that shit. Fantastic. Charlebois was like to act like a tough guy. He broke down in tears.
Oh, of course.
Immediately attempted
Don't
to turn,
they all?
Right. And immediately attempted to turn Crown's evidence.
I'll tell you everything.
Saying he couldn't face going to prison for the rest of his life. Yeah. Commander Andre Bouchard of the Montreal Police bluntly told Charlebois, "Fuck you. No deal for you." Which caused him to cry even more. They should have recorded this and sent the recording to all the Angels.
Everybody, dude.
Like, look at you guys. Look at this, you little bitches.
I bet they did, bro. I'm sure it was recorded.
Of those arrested, only Woolley of the Rockers held up, refusing to say a word to the police.
Of course, dude. Look at this. He's a fucking stone cold killer.
Right. Bouchard, he stated that he felt that Woolley would try to make a plea bargain, saying this: "We've got him cold, and his lawyer knew it. We've got DNA. I mean, he was dead. What more do you need? Son of a bitch." He was the only one, really, who had never said even a word.
All right, and it turned out the black man was the guy that they could actually trust out of all of them.
All right, I mean,
jeez. To assist with gathering evidence, Bouchard wanted DNA samples and was hoping that the accused would ask for food, coffee cup, cigarettes, or Kleenex. So now you guys know, if you're ever under investigation, don't take anything these motherfuckers give you.
No.
He wanted to seize their saliva samples to run for DNA. One angel told the police as he used a box of Kleenex, "If you think you can get my fucking DNA, you're a bunch of assholes." Well, they did. As Bouchard picked up the used Kleenex to run for a DNA test, he later stated, thinking at the time, "You look at these guys, they're not all the sharpest pencils."
All right.
One angel chose to eat his cigarettes to avoid giving saliva samples, which could be run for DNA tests. At least somebody's kind of smart.
I was just thinking that myself. One of the angels who escaped arrest was Carroll. He fled to Mexico in March of 2001. He's not been seen or heard of.
Oh, shit.
since.
Carol said bye.
He ain't never seen.
Adios and I can be. Oh.
I bet he had a good meal or two, and he lived for life.
Oh, there you go.
Police affidavit stated that Carroll had had $1 million in a bank account in Antigua.
Bahama,
And it's also to believe that he did not even stay in Mexico. He went to Brazil, which had no extradition treaty with Canada. 2014, the Interpol website stated, Hell's Angels have chapters in more than 20 countries. And information suggests that Carroll has frequented a number of them, including Brazil, Mexico, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, the United States, as well as countries in South America and Europe.
All right.
Isn't Brazil in South America?
All right. Right.
Stadnick, he was arrested in Montego Bay in Jamaica, spending time in what was his girlfriend called a hellhole Jamaican prison.
Oh.
Stadnick did not even contest extradition back to Canada in April 2001. Yeah, he was probably like, "Get me the fuck out of this prison."
Right. He's like, "Yeah, I got to get out of here."
Holy shit.
The journalist Sharon Marsden noted that Operation Springtime was a heavy blow against the Angels, but in no way crippled the group. Thomas O'Neill of the Mounted Police stated, "We didn't finish them off, but we set them back for years." The Police arrested 120 Hells Angels and Rockers in Operation Springtime, but only 60 were full-patch Angels, with the rest being prospects or hang-arounds,
Right.
which left 70 full-patch Hells Angels free to continue to operate in Montreal.
Hey.
That's all you need. Almost every member of the elite Nomad chapter were arrested except for Carol and Andre Chouinard, but no members of the Angels, Sherbrooke, Sorel, and Saint Basile Lagrand chapters were arrested. So, you didn't even do anything.
Right.
The Sherbrooke, Saint Basile Lagrand, and Sorel chapters stepped in to fill the void caused by the arrest of the Nomads.
Of course they did.
I mean, the Nomads were the elite ones. One of those are going to have to step up and be the new elite ones.
Damn right. July 2001. July 2001. Luis Elias Lex. The account.
Lex. Sounds Greek.
Right. The accountant for the Irish-Canadian gangster Jerry Maddox, the leader of the Irish West End gang of Montreal. He agreed to turn Crown's evidence after being arrested in March of 2001. Ooh, an accountant? Yeah, you know that dude.
He knows everything.
He's talking. After attempting to kill himself in prison twice, saying he was convinced that the Angels and or the West End gang had put out a jailhouse contract in his life, Louise agreed to testify for the Crown that the West End gang controlled the port of Montreal and in exchange for fees allowed the Angels to smuggle all sorts of things both in and out of Montreal. That makes sense.
After Maddox was arrested, at his bail hearing, the Roman Catholic priest for the parish of St. Bruno, Father Mark Mignault, he testified to his good character, stating that he was a devout Catholic who gave generously to the Catholic charities and was one of Montreal's most honest and respectable businessmen.
Oh, wow.
No, how about fuck you, Father Mark?
Right.
Only because he's giving you money.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he said in particular, he praised Maddox for donating thousands of chickens every Thanksgiving and Christmas to the poor of Montreal as evidence of his good heart. Just because you do that doesn't mean you're not at the same time shooting people in the fucking eye.
It happens. Well, Crown attorney Robert Rouleau, by contrast, noted that one of Maddox's businesses was found to have a paper hidden in the fridge bearing the names Guy and Mom. Next to which were written to the cell phone numbers of Guy Lepage and Boucher.
Who they called Mom, right?
Right. Oh, my. Louise signed a statement for the Crown stating that Maddox, who controlled the Longshoremen's Union at the Port of Montreal, he made a profit of $22 million from smuggling drugs into the city. And he sold the Angels at least 700 kilos of cocaine in the last 2 years alone. Wow.
Well, Lekas later testified at the other trials in 2002 and 2003 that he regularly took cardboard boxes containing at least $500,000 in cash from the Angels as payments to the West End gang.
Son of a bitch.
And that the chicken which Maddox was generous and donated to the Catholic charities at times were stolen from container ships meant to export chicken to grocery stores in Europe. So, yeah.
Whatever.
Well, inspired by Lekas's example, Jean McLean, one of Maddox's lieutenants, he agreed to turn Crown's evidence and to testify against Maddox's son, Donald, in exchange for only an 8-year prison sentence. He said, I'll do 8 years.
He won't even do 8.
Right.
Well, Lekes received a 7-year prison sentence with the promise that he would receive a new identity.
Good for you, buddy.
And police protection for the rest of his life when he was released.
Awesome.
As a result, Maddox...
Unless you're like that one douchebag that got kicked out.
Or for being a dumbass. And as a result of Maddox's guilty plea in 2002, rather than face extradition in the United States, where he was wanted on charges of smuggling cocaine. What?
He pleaded guilty instead of facing extradition to the United States.
Right,
so he would be jailed in Canada.
Right. To spring of 2002, Boucher was again brought to trial for the murders of Levine and Rondeau after having been acquitted in 1998.
How can you do this 100 times?
Right. The Crown challenged the verdict, citing irregular aspects of the trial that suggested intimidation of the part of the Angels.
Oh, shit.
And at a second trial, Gagne agreed to testify for the Crown in exchange for a lesser sentence. Uh-oh, Boucher.
Well, France Charbonneau, he was widely viewed as the toughest Crown attorney in Quebec. He was assigned to prosecute Boucher. Gagne testified that Boucher wanted random murders of people working for the Quebec justice system in order to create such a climate of fear that no one would ever dare prosecute the Hells Angels.
Ooh.
The most damaging evidence came from beyond the grave, as the reports that Kane had given to the mounted police between 94 and 97, and again in 99 and 2000, were presented as Crown's evidence.
I don't know if you can do that, though. I think somebody that's deceased, anything they say, because they have to be there. Is it a law in Canada?
Not if it's written down and it's already like
Kane had stolen the financial records of the Nomads, which show that over the courses of an 8-month period in 2000, the Angels had made a profit of $111.5 million in Quebec.
111.5 million. Nobody ever says that.
111 million. $112 million. They made $111,503,110 in Quebec. On the 6th of May in 2002, Boucher found guilty of 2 counts of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in imprisonment with puppy monkey babies and no chance of parole.
For the next 25 years.
Right. 6th of May 2002, Boucher was found guilty of 2 counts of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole for the next 25 years.
Huh?
Andre Bouchard, the Montreal police detective, he told the media it was rumored that the American leadership of the Angels wanted Boucher dead.
Of course they do.
Saying this, we've heard that they in the United States go together, and they said to take that fucker out. They say this is the guy who caused all the trouble.
You think?
When he says they, he's referring to the Hells Angels leadership.
All right, the Canadian scholar Steven Schneider, he noted through Operation Springtime, it hit the Hells Angels hard. The resilient motorcycle club quickly bounced back and even saw its membership increase afterwards, though. At the time of Operation Springtime in 2001, the Hells Angels in Quebec had 106 full-patch members, while by 2002, the number had risen to 124 full-patch members. Okay. The arrest of every member of the Nomad chapter proved to be only a minimal blow as the drug trafficking network rebounded as the Trois Rivières chapter quickly replaced the Nomad chapter as the coordinated chapter. As I said,
I mean, come on.
Take one out, somebody's coming back.
Simple as that. It's like if you lose an offensive lineman, bam, there's 2 more ready to go. Maybe not be as good, but they'll learn.
Right.
The Bandidos Canada had been looking to take advantage of this opportunity to regain territory lost and take new territory from the Angels. They're like, all right, these guys are... they're dwindling. However, a concurrent investigation, Operation Amigo, was underway targeting the Bandidos operation in Quebec and also in Ontario.
All right.
Only the chapters that patched over from the Rock Machine, though. This operation had initially gone under a different title and was created to target the Rock Machine as a result of the conflict in Quebec. When the Rock Machine patched over to the Bandidos, they became the main focus.
All right.
Damn, they just put...
Bandidos now just realized that it was more of a headache to get these guys in the gang.
Right.
June 5th, 2002, raids led to the arrest of 63 members of the Bandidos Canada, including all of its Quebec members and many other associates.
Oh, wow.
After Operation Amigo, the Bandidos only had 15 members left in Ontario.
Damn.
The Bandidos Canada themselves confirmed this in an official statement when they claimed that all chapters in Quebec had been frozen due to the members' imprisonment. Because the operation initially targeted the Rock Machine before the patch over, chapters that had joined from the Loners Motorcycle Club were not included in the raids.
Nice. I mean, even though they're doing illegal shit as well, but nice. Giovanni Musaderi, Giovanni Musaderi, he became the new national president to replace the arrested Alain Brunet. July 2003, Brunet promptly capitulated to an ultimatum from the Angels, urging Musaderi to accede to their demands.
Yeah, man, just do what they want.
And what Peter Edwards, the crime correspondent of the Toronto Star, called an unconditional surrender, Brunet and Musaderi submitted to the demands of the Angels that the Bandidos would leave Quebec forever and that all of the imprisoned Bandidos would retire from organized crime forever in exchange for the imprisoned Bandidos not to be murdered while in prison.
I say that's a hell of a deal that you have to take.
Yeah.
All right, well, Musaderi, he denounced in public the Quebec Bandidos as cowards for accepting the deal that he submitted to. And announced that henceforward the Bandidos would be focusing only on Western Canada. All in all, it is this biker war is the deadliest recorded biker conflict, with at least 162 people dead, 300 wounded, over 100 arrested, and 20 missing.
These guys were just like bombing and
they're just doing it all bad.
Stupid shit.
Well,
like also, just firing freaking guns in the middle of crowded streets.
They didn't give a shit. Just bombing. I mean, holy shit. Well, this also cost the government of Canada and Quebec millions of dollars in damages, with 84 bombings and 130 cases of arson.
Dude, it's just sickening.
Jeez.
Wow. April 2006, Bandidos, the only possible rivals to the Angels in Canada, self-destructed with the Shedon Massacre.
We'll get to that.
Leaving the Angels as the only national outlaw biker club in all of Canada.
Damn, dude.
1st of October 2007, Bandidos website announced, as of October 2nd, 2007, the Bandidos MC 1% Canada is officially shut down. There isn't no more Banditos MC membership in Canada, quote unquote.
Well, is there though?
Right. April 2008, the former members of the Banditos Winnipeg chapter started to call themselves the Rock Machine.
Oh shit! Return.
Oh.
reverse. However, beside for the same name and patch, there is no connection between the current and the former.
Just like the Winnipeg Jets.
Right. And most of the current Rock Machines chapters exist only on the internet.
Oh, wow.
Oh, so they're like pen paling each other and shit. The journalist Jerry Langton wrote, well, while the Outlaws had been essentially reduced to a disparate band of gray-bearded men waiting for their court-ordered restrictions to expire, and the amorphous loners, Rock Machine, Banditos entity seems to be a club on the internet only, the Angels continue to groom new members and employ gangs at many different strips all over the country. It could be stripes. The Hells Angels own Canada, pretty much.
Right.
Not pretty much, they do.
Wow. In May of 2008, the career of Canadian Foreign Minister Maxime Bernier was temporarily derailed when it emerged that his girlfriend, Julie Colliard, in 2007, was a former stripper who had been the sexual partner of several Angels in the 90s, forcing him to resign in June 2008.
Because his girlfriend's a former stripper? Who gives a shit?
I mean, we let Kamala run for president.
The future first lady has posed nude several times.
Bernier left behind a NATO briefing document at Colliard's house, and the media demanded his resignation, saying
it wasn't because she was a hooker.
Right. They said, you better resign because it was very inappropriate for a cabinet minister to be seen a woman who had once married an angel and involved in a common law relationship with another. Oh, shit. Jeez. They had common law in Canada? Didn't know that.
The affair of Bernier and Colliard almost destroyed Bernier's career, although it does not appear that national security was threatened in any serious way.
Probably not.
April 2009, over 156 members of the Angels were arrested in Quebec, New Brunswick, France, and the Dominican Republic, mostly in connection to the crimes related to the Biker War as part of Operation Shark QC, which we covered in the last episode.
Right.
Well, the one about Canada. The arrests led to the charges for 22 murders committed between 92 and 2009. Oh. 4 Angels bunkers were also seized by police, including one in Sorel, Tracy, that was firebombed in 2008.
Oh, shit. Dozens of arrests were previously made earlier in the year as part of Operation Axe, which was happened in February, and also Operation Balladur in March. 13th of March 2014, Detective Roberge pled guilty in a Montreal courthouse to charges of breach of trust and of engaging in gangsterism himself. Wow. Roberge admitted to accepting $125,000 from the Angels in exchange for information and was sentenced to 8 years in prison.
This guy was putting people in prison at the same time.
October 2015, charges against the Angels arrested in Quebec in 2009 dismissed following allegations that the Crown withheld evidence for too long, resulting in an internal investigation as to why the effort to convict the Angels failed. Shouldn't anything that detective
did or said in that time be gone?
Has to be retrialed, right? Retried.
I don't know. It's Canada.
Right.
Well, Quebec Superior Court Judge James Brunton ruled that delay between the arrests in 2009 as part of Operation Shark QC and 2015 violated the right to a speedy trial, which was guaranteed by their rights and freedoms, and dismissed all the charges.
Screw your rights and freedoms.
And they dismissed all the charges against the Hells Angels arrested as part of that operation.
Ooh, I bet you that just pissed him off.
I bet it did.
Oh, wow.
2015, the Quebec police alleged in an indictment that Boucher had continued to engage in organized crime from his prison cell, using his daughter Alexandra Mongo as his messenger, and that his principal surrogate in Montreal was his former bodyguard, Wooly, who has been charged 3 times of first-degree murder. Jeez, Wooly's just straight roaming these streets, though, huh?
Fuck yeah. Fucking Wooly. That's my guy.
Wooly.
2016, former mounted police officer and expert on biker gangs, Pierre de Champlain, told the media, since 2000, the Angels have had complete control over Quebec. From Sept-Îles to Granby, no one wants to work against the Angels independently because it's not in their interests.
Of course it's not.
Quote, unquote. Noting the funeral in Montreal in August 2016 of a biker killed in an automobile crash, Champlain noted it was attended by 300 bikers, but also 1,000 to 3,000 people who came out to watch. They wanted to see the parade, the coffin pulled by bikes. And we have to admit, it was spectacular.
It was spectacular. And there we go, folks. A whole two-parter of this damn Quebec Biker War. And damn.
I don't ever want to read anything about French names or anything again.
Yeah, this is rough. Well, next month is going to be even crazier because we have all the rest of the world, which includes Spanish names, Dutch names, and all the like. So, yeah, Argentinians, San Isidro, Buenos Aires. We got Ice Kid along with fellow Kevin Augustniak. That's the Quebec Biker War, and I got to say that's besides California, I think probably the most crazy of the Hells Angels so far is these Quebecers.
Yeah, Quebec's wild, dude.
Yeah, Quebec is wild. That's like I said. We said at the beginning of this and in the Canada episode. That's why they call it the Red Zone.
All the Quebec were like the soccer hooligans in London.
It's like French as fuck.
Right.
Yep. There you go. Next week we'll be back for Serial Killer, which. Maybe we'll do another popular guy. Maybe
Times Square
Killer or the torso guy. Maybe next week we'll do Richard Ramirez or something. Get a nice good one in there. Yeah, Richard Ramirez. Maybe we'll do the Green River Killer or something like that.
The nice stalker who looked like a werewolf.
Or maybe we'll do Dennis Rader. Dennis Rader would be cool. That's kind of more recent. What an idiot that guy was, by the way. Dude did his killings up until like the 80s. Did nothing for like 15 years. Finally got bored for some reason and started sending pieces of hair and shit from his victims to news stations and got caught. Like, what a dummy, dude. He could have got off forever.
I think he wanted it.
Of course he did. He wanted the attention again. Fucking weirdo, dude. The BTK killer. Maybe we'll do him next week. Outlaws and Gunslingers coming up. Subscribe to our YouTube.
I'm sorry, guys.
Spotify.
We're fucking
Apple.
terrible.
No, not we. Just one. We'll be back next week for more. We'll be back then. We're Month of Michigan.
Bing dang.